Welcome to the Creative Brew, helping you keep your creative juices brewing. We're giving out chunks of insight, motivation, and practicality for your creative journey. Gnarco is just not a company, it's a way of life. Born from the vision of embracing the gnarly spirit, we at Gnarco are dedicated to crafting American-made products that embody the essence of adventure and freedom. Our mission is clear: to empower individuals to live life to the fullest, unapologetically, being themselves and finding tranquility in the pursuit of remarkable experiences. You can visit Gnarco at gnarcousa.com. My next partner is Elevate Coffee Trading, and if you appreciate specialty coffee, enjoy outdoor adventure, and love helping elevate the lives of children around the world, then you're going to love Elevate Coffee Trading. Their mission is to extract hope through love, coffee, and adventures. There's free shipping in the United States, and every bag of coffee helps sponsor health and education for children in coffee-producing countries and in areas of need in the United States. You can use promo code ELEVATE21 on your next order, and you can follow their journey on social media at Elevate Coffee Trading. Or you can visit online at elevatecoffeetrading.com, and let's start extracting hope together. And this episode is brought to you by Baba Coffee, smuggling good vibes. Baba roasts their coffee beans each week and only offers the freshest coffee. They have espressos, lattes, cappuccinos, pour over, or drip coffee. You can try their cold brew coffee, nitro cold brew, or bulletproof coffee, and boba milk teas. They also have a wide assortment of delicious food. I would suggest you try the avocado toast, mimosas, wine, or beer. On the weekends, you can check out some great music like the Soto Six and food like Eliza the Shelf and others over the weekend, every Friday and Saturday, beginning at 6 p.m. You can check out everything they got going on Facebook and Instagram at Baba Coffee. Welcome to a new episode of the Creative Brew, giving you insights on your creative journey. Today we have Eric Chagala. He is the principal at VIDA. It is the Vista Innovation Design Academy that's in Vista. I love going out and sort of, while I bring people on, sort of looking to see, because we have such a diverse community, and you're always surprised about who you find, especially online. And just looking around, there's different areas, and I end up finding his website and sort of looking and understand, reading, and sort of checking out all the things that he's doing there, doing some great things there, and really interested in all the other things. He's got a lot of stuff going on, and so I think he was a perfect fit for the show. So I had to reach out to him, so I got him on. So without further ado, Eric, I'll let you sort of share your origin story, how you end up, where you started, how you end up becoming the principal at VIDA, and then we'll go about this episode.
Awesome, thank you. So long-term educator, like long story short, but wound up at VIDA before it was VIDA. So February 13th, 2013 was my first day as principal at a school called Washington Middle School.
Okay.
And it's a school that, again, long story short, state of California basically told the Vista School District, you do something with that place or we're going to do something with that place. And so I was the third principal that year. So by February, I was the third principal.
Wow.
And so had the opportunity, like a really creative journey with the people who were in the building. So existing teachers in the existing building, kids matriculating through, and we use the design thinking process, which I know you're a fan of.
Yeah.
We use that to really dig deep into empathy and some ethnographic work to figure out, like, what did the community need? Talk to students, talk to parents, talk to alumni, talk to, there's a closest business to us is a 7-Eleven down on Olive and Melrose. Try to get, a sense of what is going on for people and their journey here. And so what we found is it's primarily Latinx youth from poverty in the school. And what we found is that what the system was saying should be done to those kids did not match or line up with what they're interested, their strengths, interests, and values, their aspirations. And so we use that deep empathy work and using design thinking as this like creative, iterative model to imagine a new hope for our community and to really, like, how do you defeat generational poverty?
Yes.
You can't do it at the school level. Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, that's the truth. And I actually, was going through the the website with VIDA, and I see some of the amazing things that you're doing with the school. Even I mean, I know I'm on more of the design and branding, but I sort of even interested, like understand like, hey, we're introducing like new technologies, introducing a lot of the kids to programs that professionals use, like having them be able to work with that. That was actually quite amazing. I just so it's just, even looking online, I sort of noticed like how much how much the kids sort of respond to you and the teachers. I know sometimes and many times, and I think teachers and even principals tend to have that issue or maybe that trouble trying to figure out like how do we build culture, or what do we how do we develop that camaraderie or that vision. What did you do there specifically, maybe from your standpoint? Like what did you do to sort of bring all that together?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing we talk about, we have about 1,000 visitors a year coming through the school, whether those are international educators across the US, our region, families interested in the program. And one of the things that's constantly on my mind and our team's mind is the organizational culture.
Mhm.
And I don't think either in industry, in public sphere, there's not a leader that would say that, oh, culture doesn't matter or trust it. Like no one would say those things. But what actually happens, right? You pull the curtains back, and what is going on?
Yeah.
And it's I have enough of these interactions with other people from across the globe to know like we really need to be talking about like understanding like what culture is.
Mhm.
We have this thing in education where a lot of times we'll talk about things like equity, creativity, innovation, being future ready, and we say them, but do we know what they mean?
Mhm.
And I would argue like our kids, especially our kids from poverty, they don't have time for us to just throw words around and not really like we've been screwing over generations and generations and generations from primarily a white middle class system
Mhm.
that hasn't like looked at like developing humans.
Yeah.
And so I think the culture aspect is really important. We break that down. It means a lot to us. The acronym VIDA. So you said, VIDA is the name of our school. It's actually the Vista Innovation Design Academy. VIDA, the word means life in Spanish.
Uh,
And based where we're located, like that's really important.
yes.
Like this needs to be more about the lives of who the children are than just school.
Yeah.
Just school has a long record of bad grades and bad
Yeah.
performance. But it can't just be about the kids, because you can like see rah kids all they want.
Yeah.
If the people that are supposed to be doing the rah have no rah in them,
Yeah.
then what does it mean?
Yeah.
So we have schools, say creativity, teachers are supposed to inspire creativity, but the teacher doesn't see themselves as a creative genius and their own value and efficacy as a creative being. Then how in the world do they inspire and develop that in youth?
Yeah.
And so it's not just, there's more about your lives than just school for children, but also it's more about your lives and who you are than just work.
Yes.
And if it's ever work and if it's ever school, then we fail.
Yeah. I like that. That's yeah, that's I sort of noticed being, and especially being at take in mind this is a live episode, so may have some background noise, but yeah, that's something definitely being in the education space and understanding like you get teachers like I'm just ready to be done, like I put my time in for those 10 months or whatever, I just want a break and that's it. And it's just one of those where like I really feel like the kids, like they see that energy, like they feel it, they know when someone's really selling like, hey, I really want you to aspire for you to do your best. I think kids sort of they see that, they feel it. And I think once they know that they know that people like you believe in them, I think that's where they sell themselves on that culture, or on that belief. And I think that's really something that I'm always interested in. Just different schools that I work with, just from a branding aspect, even with teams too. And that's the big thing, like culture. Like we're trying to build culture, and I'm like, well, like what are you actually doing to sort of help with this? So like you were saying, really easy to sort of push that, but if we peel it back and we're not doing that ourselves, then that's where the disconnect is. So
Yeah, and I think one of our big blessings is the adults on campus. They see themselves as creative beings. They
yeah.
push themselves as creative beings, but they're incredible humans
Mhm.
too. And they want to give and they want to inspire. They want to continually push the program that we offer kids. And we do this like with an ear towards what are the kids thinking? What are they seeking? What do they want? And like we co-design. So this is our 10th year.
Okay.
And so going into our 10th year, we did this big refresh of the design classes we offer for kids, and did all this empathy gathering and provided models and possible ideas, and they provided lots of feedback. And then we gave that to teachers, and then we coded like themes in it. And so then like we had teachers like, oh my gosh, I would love to do that with kids. And one of the things that we've like talked about since the beginning is, what have you always wanted to do with kids that you haven't been able to? And then from a leadership perspective, like the idea is, how do we make that happen?
Yes.
How do we deliver that for both of you? And like we pressure tested too. You maybe you have a great idea for a class that you think would be really great. We put it out to kids and like 2 people sign up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're not going to offer that. And I am so sorry, but it's so like, it's this constant back and forth. And I think in schools, it's like, we have these people that can teach these classes and we offer this, and we just keep doing the same thing from 1972 to today.
Very outdated model.
Yeah. No, and we have kids designing and creating an AI enabled robot.
Yeah.
And so AI is banned like on the formal channels, like through district filters, because we're developing like lots of people. What is a policy? How do you permit it? So we have a teacher that's figured out, how do I allow access and like to AI like things for our kids, and a lot of it coding through Python, in order to give them that experience and that knowledge and understanding of next generation technology. Well, nobody's doing it yet because we're waiting for approval to like do it.
Wow.
And so they figured it out. And so, the name of the robot is Chai. They've 3D scanned a super popular teacher on campus. And they're printing out like the parts. It's like, it's her. It's a little funny.
I saw that. I looked, I was like, what are they doing? And I was just scanning through, looking at all the 3D scans. I'm like, wow, they're actually making and that's crazy. That's wild. I mean, and that's something that once kids get exposed to something like that, I mean, that's upcoming technology that, I mean, that's something they can, use for the rest of their lives. I mean, especially now with where, things are going. I mean, that's a needed skill. And I sort of find myself on that threshold, especially being in the design space. I've got a lot of artists that, they don't want to use AI. They, they're against any technology. And then you got people like you that, we need this. I mean, this is something that this is a asset and a skill that, we have to learn, and we have to adopt it in some form of fashion. So I find myself sort of in that in between, to where like, I don't want AI to sort of like copy what, my design or that, but at the same time too, I have started using it for a lot of different things that, makes my life easy. So it's just figuring out ways of how to best adopt it. But
I think it's like balance. So like, if you're all against AI, that's a problem. If you're all for it and only want to rely on it, that's a problem. So how do we like interweave the balance, ensure that kids, like, I remember when YouTube came out, like every school in the world banned YouTube, and now it's allowed. But at what point did we have the conversation about like appropriate uses, like to help improve the world, move things forward, and not just be consumers, but also like content creators, like what you're doing.
And that's the balance. So it definitely going through it, I was like, wow, they got like some kind of mad laboratory, like they're creating all kinds of things. So that's always, I think for kids, like being able to be exposed to that, that's what I'm big on. So I know I generally, for me, I do a lot of speaking towards, I talk to different schools and digital art classes, and it's just one of those where sort of I'm always sort of saying like what outlet or what things they could use to sort of, sometimes it's easy, like I can present and show stuff, but I think once you get people like you, or people like some of the other teachers that's, hands-on, they're actually, using this technology and they're showing kids how to do it. I think that's a completely different thing. And I think that that helps with the kids sort of learning how to use these skills, because it's gonna happen. I mean, it's like you can't ignore it. It's not like
well, we're a design school, and for a middle school to be a design school that's like a public like district school is a big deal. And so we have like dimensions of product design. So like, what are the types of materials you work with? Digital fabrication is an aspect within what we teach. But you also have to know how to draw a straight line using a ruler, how to use a like,
Yeah.
so it's back to like very basic stuff. We may have a kid in one room 3D printing or using a laser cutter to do whatever, and in the next room over, then we have visual arts class, like they're drawing and painting.
Yes.
And so like, how do we provide all the opportunities that speak to the genius of the kids and like help harness that?
Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah, and they're not, from what I've seen, I think you're the only school right now that I've actually seen like actually model this because, you know, it's just one of those where I think for some of the schools, it's like some kind of a disconnect. Like we keep art and robotics, everything separated. And I see you integrating so many different things together.
So we actually had last year, and we'll have it next year too. A teacher, her name's Alyssa. She teaches public speaking for us. She runs our drama program, but she's also doing, she has a period off to help with arts integration within core academic classes.
Oh, that's nice.
So a math teacher can reach out, an English teacher, science, history, about, hey, how do I do more like an art project?
Yeah.
But how do I help develop the arts in the projects that the kids are doing? Like help build my bandwidth. So then, you know, when they have ideas, I can help support and push and explore.
Yes, I like that. Yeah, that's a great idea.
And all our kids are taught formal public speaking training.
Wow.
Every single kid.
That's nice. That's awesome. So even with your design thinking methodology, can you, you know, for people, for listeners that may not know about this, can you explain it maybe from your standpoint, like what this model is and how you're
so design thinking is a creative problem solving process, sort of originated in industry from IDEO, international design firm, who's been one of our partners for years. And it's really a human-centered approach. Focuses, it's like design and engineering, but it really focuses on empathy and user needs.
Okay.
And so like really like finding out, like not just like hearing what you're saying, but inferring what's being told, so that you can come up with, you know, great solutions and designs. And, you know, we talked about a lot of schools will just say words, and if you say the words, then it's like checking a box. And so two of our teachers, David and Ellen, came up with this actual visual and definition for us, what innovation means. We were working with 11, 12, 13-year-olds. And so we take, it's like a Venn diagram, take creativity on one side, skills on the other, and where they overlap is innovation.
Yes.
But what we really talk about is creativity. At our school, we have a fundamental belief that every human being is innately a creative genius.
Yeah.
That creativity has to be fostered and allowed to flourish. And we know that public schools, especially for students of color and from poverty, that creativity has often been squashed in the name of test scores and academic achievement and no excuses and all this other stuff, for lack of a better word. So we have this fundamental belief that you need to foster the way that people think. And then the skills are things that they can actually do because you're provided time, skills, resources, a coach, mentor, opportunity to do. And so when your wild ideas come together, the things you can do at 11, 12, and 13, like that is innovation, both as individual, but also as partners and teammates in that.
And really at the most impressionable years of their, I mean, it's wild. I mean, that is the gap. I mean, once you can press those ideals or at least give them those skills, that, I mean, once it gets to high school, I mean, it makes it so much easier. But if they're not aware of that or don't even have access to that, you know, they're figuring by the time they get out of high school, they're sort of lost again. So yeah, I think that's critical, is being able to implement those at the middle school.
When you said something really cool about being lost when they get out of high school. And so one of the things that we have another fundamental belief, and like we have a lot of beliefs, and we're unapologetic. And some people look at us and they think like, you guys are kind of crazy, you're out there, like whatever. Like, good.
Yeah.
And we can be friends. Like, imagine this. We can disagree and still be friends. We don't have to hate each other because of it. But we have this really strong belief that we need to reshape how we're having young people reflect on learning experiences. So good old like ancient John Dewey pedagogy would say, like, it's not like doing the thing that makes you learn, it's reflecting back on your learning that really makes you learn. And so we're twisting this, and we're learning this from our industry partners, that it's more about what did I do and what can I do because of that. It's not like, what are the open doors for me when I get older?
Yeah.
How do I make the open doors?
Yes.
We're talking about the changing economy.
Yes.
We're seeing things we've never seen before, workplace displacement.
Yeah.
There's, rising industries here, closing industries here, and navigating, like, that's the world. And parents get this when we talk to them. It's funny because sometimes parents get it more than like professional educators get it more. And we have this thing, I think I sort of know why, is, and I'm a lifelong educator, so I'm not throwing shade at anybody,
Yeah.
right? I'm in the shade. But what I come to realize through work with industry partners is that most teachers were good at school. So we went to school. So when we grew up, we could play school and do school.
Yeah.
And so we're missing some of like what is actually happening.
Yeah.
So we have these very honest conversations with parents are like, yes, yes, yes.
Wow, that's so what's been the from your standpoint, what's been the results of that? I mean, as far as have you noticed like even the kids that come out of this school, do you have like any kind of results as far as like, okay, what's the and I want sure now, do they feed into one of the high schools, or like I didn't know how that
Open season.
okay. All right. All right.
So we have 3 high schools in Vista. So
Yeah.
they'll primarily go to one of those 3.
Okay.
But we also bring in kids from Oceanside, San Marcos.
Okay.
Like my own daughters, we live in San Marcos,
Yeah.
but they came to VIDA. They made their decision to go back to high school in
Yeah.
San Marcos. So we have kids that go home.
Okay.
I call it. Yeah, the kids stay home. The kids make this their home.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of over the place. But we send out emails because we're old enough now that we have kids who started graduating high school
Mhm.
and moving on. So we're interested, who's going into the trades?
Yeah.
Who's going to college and what colleges are you going to?
Yeah.
We want to know like who's going straight to career course, who has started their own bit. Like we want to know these things.
Yeah.
And then on a more intimate level, like we track like freshman GPAs, like leaving us. So we do a lot of things. We get a lot of feedback from like alumni. Of course, we're on like a constant listening tour.
Okay.
And one of the things about our school is we're a choice-based school.
Yeah.
So we don't have an attendance area.
Yeah.
When you and I grew up, we went to the school that was closest to our house.
Yep. That was it.
We don't have any of that. So it's a lottery system where kids have to put in for it. And so it's always this sort of like push of like you constantly got to be talking, listening, designing, co-designing around like how do we stay relevant?
Yeah.
And I think it's a good push.
Oh yeah.
Because if you don't have to stay relevant, if you automatically have customers coming in, like I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think especially with something like that, I mean, when you're in that creative environment, that just breathe, that having those kids there, like I said, just fosters that creativity, innovation, resourcefulness, all that stuff. I mean, that's something I wish going back and I wish I would have had something like that. Obviously I've been through the arts and then understanding, design and branding going through college, but going back and like, if I had that just middle school like this to where this was, I mean, honestly, we're a school, but we're centered around creativity and design thinking, that would have been, I mean, golly, that I think that would have been drastically, that would have changed the way the trajectory as far as how I even see design or creativity.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've got to now, man, I said technology is going, it's going so fast. I mean, like you've got to be able to, get that to them really, really early. So
well, we have a lot of parents, a lot of dads who say, I wish there was a school like this for me when I grew up.
Yeah. I was looking, I was like, this is unbelievable. I was like, I want to enroll back in this.
Yeah. I get to play every day. It's great.
So right now, I sort of looking through, I know you were you've got a lot of, I don't want to say like a mix of different things, but I could tell you're a man of many talents. And I know there was like a little coffee initiative that you had going on. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So at our school, we have a teacher. His name is Christian, amazing guy, started in the business world, came to education.
Okay.
And when we talk about, what have you always wanted to do with kids that you've never been able to do? It's like, I'm really like, what about entrepreneurship?
Yeah.
And not even like creating a program so kids are entrepreneurs necessarily, but gaining the skills, the mindsets, the dispositions of successful entrepreneurs. Like, how do we do that? And talk about value creation and not just like economic value creation. How we talk about value creation with kids, like it may bring harmony, it may bring joy, and looking at things in sort of a broader way.
Yeah.
So he's actually been one of the most inspirational, Christian Ludwig, one of the most inspirational people in my adult life, because he's been a push for me to do other things outside of just public education. So my best friend and I, Dr. Caleb Rashad, who was the former CEO of the High Tech High Network, the interim CEO. We have a nonprofit called Unlocked, where our tagline is tending to the soul school. Okay. So how do we create expert opportunities for educators to really change the paradigm of what they offer in their classrooms or in their schools? And as we do a lot of direct services through that. During COVID, there was no direct service happening nowhere, right? Like we're surviving, we're in a room. And so as a way to continue contributing, we developed a standalone coffee company. Wow. Called Coffee Aside, which is all about building community one bag of coffee at a time. So we operate in two ways. We have a retail online store, coffeeaside.com, selfless plug. Yes. And what the retail side does is it funds the other side, like our giving side, which is what we're all about. So we have this unique opportunity where we work with youth-based organizations and sports teams, where they do fundraisers. And so what we're able to do is, say you have an all-star baseball team. We take your logo, design custom labeled coffee bags for you. We run an online store. You share your information. We incur all the credit card transaction fees. Team mom never has to handle any money. We handle all the online sales. Give back, specialty grade, fresh roasted, in custom logoed coffee bags to the team. They then hand deliver back to the customers. And it's great because by design, we're losing money every time this happens. It's part of the idea. So the retail side of what we do helps support and supplement the costs because we're giving so much back to the teams. And I look at like these people that do there's different candy sales things, and I'm looking at like the fraction that they get back. I'm like, there's a corporation that's actually benefiting from you doing it. And so now it's like, now that we're back doing direct services with our nonprofit, the standalone coffee sort of become me and my wife's, our family's way, and my daughter's, of giving back to youth, supporting youth in a creative, inventive way that no one else is doing.
That's awesome. That's great. Sometimes people get so hung up on you lose X amount, especially when you're creating something like this or some kind of mission-based initiative. And I really feel like the intrinsic rewards for that is so much greater than what you'll see on a balance sheet. I think all that stuff, the things you're doing, it all comes back to you in some form or fashion. So it's that's really an inventive way. It's pretty cool.
When I feel compelled, like we have to give back. I think about my daughters are now going to be a senior, junior next year in high school. I think about the lineup of elementary teachers that they had, and the care that their principal and assistant principal took for them, our family going through. And my kids were at VIDA during COVID, and I couldn't, like, hearing all the stories about what's happening at all the schools, makes me want to cry. Thinking about the safe place that they were at with the loving and caring adults. And it's not just like those two, like their best friends were all there with them too. They'd made those close relationships, and what we were able to offer kids, and like these amazing heroes all over the place. And so like, it's like a challenge. Like, so what are you going to do? Like a great school, like that's fantastic. You get paid for that though. What are we going to do on our own to give back? So we found a unique, creative way. And I trace this all the way back to Christian Ludwig, teacher at our school, entrepreneurship, value creation, and his push.
That's sometimes you need people like that. Sometimes we feel like we're doing something, and then maybe sometimes you just need that outside perspective to be like, wow, like maybe we can transition towards this. So it's always a good addition to have when you have someone like that, and you're able to create a whole new thing.
when I
So,
do a lot of speaking too. So like we teach public speaking.
Yeah.
Alyssa Brumbaugh, our public speaking teacher, like I think about the lessons that she teaches our kids. I sit and I'm like, I'm going to apply this to my own work and what I do.
Yeah.
When we talked about the definition of innovation, Ellen Cruz and David Ruiz, like coming up with that, like I use that in my own like understanding of the world.
Yeah.
It was designed for 11-year-olds.
Yeah.
But you know what? It works for
Yes.
all of us.
Yes, it does.
So it's like, I think with part of that creativity, I think it was, that really famous Renaissance scientist, and I'm blanking on his name, but he talked about how experience is the mistress of creativity.
Yeah.
And so, you know, with kids, we say more like the mother of creativity.
Yeah.
Drop the mistress thing. But like, I think about all the inputs that I've been blessed with, and like, how do we use that to then build and create in different ways,
Yeah.
new journeys,
Yeah.
new paths.
I
So
like
it's
that.
pretty exciting.
I like that. Yeah, it's actually really, really refreshing because
Da Vinci.
yes. And you know what? Matter of fact, we actually my last episode, we actually just talked about Da Vinci. That's one of my biggest influences on a lot of my how I think about design and creativity. And because I love I love his process and his thinking more than his actual finished work. Like being able to invent and create all these different ideas. Like that's like when I saw that when I was a kid. Like that's what I want to do. I want to be able to just create and invent and be in that space to where you know you use that to create whatever you want to and know that you can do it. I think and what you refer to like everybody's a creator, they're a creative genius now, right? It's just we get it squashed when it's early. And I was fortunate to where I didn't have that squash, and I was really, really stubborn with going the path I wanted to go. But a lot of people, amazing. I know so many people it's amazing at they'll show me like just pieces of artwork or just different things they've created. I was like, this is amazing. Like, how come you hadn't put this out?
Yeah.
And it's one of like where life hit them. And so I'm very appreciative we got a school like VIDA that's actually fostering this creativity. People like you that's in leadership that's cultivating this type of thinking. I think a lot of schools education needs to have it.
And Seth Godin talks a lot about like you got to ship the work.
Yep.
Some point you just got to get it out there. So like, how do we do that? So I've been stoked about what our teachers have been able to do for kids. Sometimes like, because I'm like the face of it sometimes, but I know, and I'm open about like the real work is done in those classrooms with those teachers working, pouring into kids every single day. It's an incredible blessing.
That's great. So right now, I mean, what are for you just some creative tips for our audience? It could be one tip or a couple of tips. Just some creative tips. Maybe some things that maybe you've implemented in your own life.
Yeah, one of the things that we picked up through design thinking that we always talk about is start with the worst idea first. Like sometimes we get hung up, like I don't want to share, I don't want to put myself out there because what if you think it's stupid?
Yeah.
All right. So let's put the worst idea up first.
Yeah.
And then nothing can be as stupid as like, let's all agree.
Yeah.
That's a stupid idea.
Yeah.
Right. And then you can go from there. But I think that plays like back into the culture thing that we started with.
Yeah.
How do you develop a culture where it's safe to share, safe to talk?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we're perfect. Like we hit bumps in the road. I trip over myself. I say stupid things, but like with the culture where like we assume best intent and we're going to go back to our processes. And when we've gone away from our process and where our genesis was, that's where we've gone off course with things.
Okay.
And we've recorrected back using our process,
Nice.
which is cool.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, that's
and not being scared to change.
Yeah. I do like that the worst, presenting the worst ideal first. I do like that Spider-Man was a dumb ideal and look where it's at. So if someone came out with that, surely put your dumb idea out.
Told me you wanted money to back putting glue on the back of a piece of paper and called it a post-it. We're like, you're a moron.
Yeah.
But who's the moron?
Yeah, no, oh Lord. So before we sign off, words of wisdom. Anything, something that may resonate with our audience, some words of wisdom.
Yeah. So one of the two founders of High Tech High Network, Charter Network, Rob Reardon, he and my best friend Caleb reminds me of this all the time, said, do the work you want, with people that love for as long as it makes sense.
Mhm.
And I think like, as I think about my life and my development, like that's always in the back of my mind, like,
Yeah.
Love the people I'm with, like what makes sense, and work that actually matters. And, that means saying no to things
Yeah.
too, and saying no to people.
Yeah. That's great. That's awesome. So how can people get in touch with you for, maybe talking about more about the things you got going on, maybe about the school, public speaking, or maybe even get you signed on for a potential speaking gig like that. What's the best way to get in contact with you?
Yeah, I think my personal website probably. So Eric Chagala, EricChagala.com. Also on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Dr. Chagala, but also on LinkedIn, and just really love to connect. The school is easy to find, especially we have a very active presence on X. We believe in this idea of sharing our learning. And so teachers are very active in helping put up and show student work and what they're engaged in and what they're learning.
Yeah.
So that's at VIDA Sharks on X.
Okay. Hey, take in mind, we are at Baba Coffee. Special shout out real quick, Baba Coffee here in Carlsbad, California. This is a live episode, so there will be a little bit of background noise, some scooting of the chairs, part of it. So
It's like being in middle school.
Yeah. It's a lot of excuses. So please bear in mind, live episode, having technical glitches today. But here's a quick shout out to Baba Coffee. Thank you for being a great supporter for the show. And once again, you can check out everything that he's got going on at ericchagala.com. And then, like I said, he actually mentioned a lot of the social media channels that he's usually on. So please get a chance, check out all the amazing things that he's doing. Check out the school. Check out the robotics, the AI robotics page. You'll be impressed by the things they're doing. I was blown away. But once again, hey, this has been another great episode with me, with Eric. Thank you for coming on. And this is the Creative Brew. Be creative, stay inspired.
No, I won't take it. No, we won't take it. Life is about to give you ups and downs, all the wins and the outs and the smiles and frowns. They will tell you, settle down, stay on the ground. But no, I won't take it. No, we won't take it. The same.